segment, we'll get to meet someone who answered God's call to serve in a leprosy colony in China for several years. Today, she continues to serve God as a pastor's wife, a mother, and a child and adolescent mental health therapist in Maryland. But she continues to hold the lessons God showed her in Asia close to her heart. Let's welcome to Hope at Night, Grace Lee. Grace, tell us what it's like growing up.
So I was born to Korean American immigrants in New York City. They moved down to North Carolina. That's where I grew up. And growing up, it was very much, your typical Asian American childhood. Got to push the academics.
Academic pressure. Right?
Yes, got to do really well in all these things. And that's the life that I knew. And that's the life that my sisters and I, were expected to live. And basically, by the time I was my junior year in high school, my greatest dream was going to a good university, to get a good job, to make money, to spend it on myself. I mean, this was my dream.
How'd you go from that into volunteering at a leper colony?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but to make it short, my third year in high school, I had my first experience with Jesus. My parents had religiously taken me to church, and they were Christians, but Jesus wasn't real in my life. And it was not until then that I had my first encounter with Jesus Christ. And from that, my perspective started to slowly change. And going to university, I went into social work, which is not the typical thing to do. And then God gave me a call to service to do student missions overseas in Southeast Asia. And all these things led up. So after my master's, God opened doors for me to go to Korea. And then I met some friends there who were doing missions in China. And that's how I got, I had never heard about leprosy before. I thought it was something that was only in ancient times or things in the Bible. But there's hundreds of leprosy villages all over.
What was your family's reaction when you told them, I'm going to be working in a leper colony?
So thankfully, they had been slowly working up to that point. They had seen that my perspectives had changed from university, and that I wanted to serve in different ways. And so I'm very thankful for Christian parents who said, we're going to pray for you and we support you to do that. So I'm very thankful for them.
Let me ask you a question. What are the dynamics of a leper colony? What takes place there? What are the social dynamics? What's it like interacting with people and then their connection with the outside world?
So the people who live there, they're primarily now elderly because before the treatment was developed several decades ago, there wasn't any treatment. And they're ostracized by society. And then their own families also disowned them. So they were disowned by their family, society, and then the government would make them live in separate places because of fear of contamination, et cetera. And so they have this very close-knit group of people because they had to kind of take care of each other.
What was it like interacting with them?
So that's one of the things that really surprised me because they're the most open and loving people you'll ever meet. And I was just so overwhelmed by that. Just the love that they showed me. I really felt like I didn't do that much, but they're the ones that showed me so much love.
When it came to interacting with them, was there ever a fear you could get leprosy?
Sure. Before I went, I was like, I looked at pictures, I was doing some research, and the pictures are different than when you meet them in real life. But actually, about 95% of the world's population is actually immune to getting leprosy. But people think it was like COVID-19, you sneeze or you shake someone's hand, you could get it. But it's actually very difficult to get it.
Grace, for those that may not know, could you tell us what exactly is leprosy? At least the colonies you worked with, what kind of leprosy did they suffer with? Because there's multiple kinds of leprosy.
Sure. I mean, it was, leprosy is a bacteria, but they were all treated for it. So I don't know the specific types, but they were all treated decades ago. And so the people living there now are the ones that don't have any family to go back to. And so they are primarily elderly that are living there.
What does leprosy do to the body?
It mainly affects your nervous system. So different parts of the body are not able, you cannot feel, have different sensations. And so it's not the leprosy itself that causes like fingers to get lost or toes to come off. It's actually the injuries that causes infections, etc. Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes they're unaware that they've been injured. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
And so it's not treated, it becomes infected and then gangrene or whatever, and then wow.
Yes.
When you came into that leprosy colony, was there, what were the feelings going through your mind and heart? And just to be very frank, were you surprised? Were you shocked? Were you in your mind like thinking, what am I doing here? What was going through your mind?
I think initially before I went there, I was kind of wondering, kind of worried. But actually, when I got there and I met the people, we called them grandmas and grandpas, they were very cute and very loving and just the most, joy-filled people that you've met. And so I was very taken aback by that. And they welcomed me and the other volunteers as part of their family.
What realizations did you have when you were working at that leper colony?
Oh, wow. So many. First, I have a lot to be thankful for. I have so much to be thankful for. But also, kind of on a deeper level, I realized, wow, these people, they've had leprosy. They've been affected, so they can't feel in different parts of their body. But I realized, wow, I'm okay on the outside, but inside, because of selfishness, when I'm just thinking of myself, I'm numb. I'm numb to people's pain. I was so unhappy when I was just living just for myself.
Wow.
And so I think that's one of the biggest things I realized. And it made me realize, wow, no matter where God puts me, I hope he can help me see the need around me and not to be focused only on myself.
You ever heard of the book, The Gift of Pain?
Yes, I love that book. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And the author talks about leprosy, and he describes an incident, I believe it was in India, where a man was working on his car, the hood was open, he had leprosy, and he cut himself on part of the engine. And as he continued to work on the engine, he was unaware that he was actually bleeding nonstop. And the author was pointing out that sometimes that discomfort is actually for our own good. It's needed. And yet these people who were suffering from leprosy couldn't even feel that pain of the injury, right? What would you say is one memory that is so special to you from your time working at that leprosy colony?
Well, there's so many memories, but I think it's the relationships. Some of the grandmas and grandpas I got really close with, and I just felt like, we're part of the same family. And that's what I really enjoyed about this. It wasn't just going in, once a month, just saying hi, but we were living together like family and, taking care of people's basic needs. Like sometimes some people needed help eating or taking a bath or cleaning, doing basic everyday things. But some of the grandmas and grandpas, we had some special moments. And then when I felt like really we're family now.
It's really interesting. As you're talking, I'm thinking, the people that give their lives to mission service, people who go out to the Philippines to go through storm and through danger to get people to the hospitals, or people go live in leprosy colonies. I think, man, these people are crazy people. But I want to say something. You guys are as normal as they come. Mm-hmm. I want to know what in the world drives you guys. What drove you guys to make these sacrifices, to give up life and ambition and part of your future to go down these paths to minister to those in need? What would cause you to do something like that? Andrew, you want to start?
Yeah, for me, it's just a realization that we have more to live for. We have more to give. And for a lot of people, they don't have that hope. And so being able to share that hope is really meaningful for me as a Christian and just being a blessing in general.
The ironic thing is when we do, we are the ones that are actually blessed so much. And there's actually real joy that comes from that. So when I talk about my time in China, that was like the best time ever and the most joy-filled time. And I would go back in a heartbeat.
Wow. It makes me think about Jesus as the missionary who left heaven to come to this world, you know? And thank you guys for following in his footsteps. I've been really impressed and just blown away by just the way that God has used you and still using you guys. I've got to ask you one more question. Do you have any final words for our viewers tonight? Grace, let's start with you.
Life with Jesus is amazing. And I just would want to encourage everyone, just experience Christ's love and share that love. And that's the way to have true joy while we serve and reach out to others.
Wow. How about you?
For me, I would say just follow the little voice in your head, God's voice, of course, saying, reach out to this person, do something nice for this person, or, be my hands and feet for these people, because you can make a huge difference that way.
That's right. I was actually looking at some research not too long ago that described that the most generous people are the most happiest people in our world. Because generosity leads to happiness when we give to others.
Mm-hmm.